have no voice. Scooching's up a little closer. I'm home. I actually got home yesterday, Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. I've been pretty much in bed, asleep, or having ear issues from the wind. They didn't bother me that much when we were in the warmer climate. Y'all, as soon as we got back into a cooler climate and the wind hit again, my ears went crazy and I started getting the dizzy ear stuff again. My ears, y'all, I can't make them work. So we did a super quick trip because the moment we started to travel, there was another system that started to create a lot of weather that was going to come through. And when you travel in a little low profile vehicle, a smaller sedan, my dad used to drive in an 18-wheeler when he drives long distance. So when you drive a little smaller sedan, you kind of get whipped all over the road. And so he decided we needed to beat the wind back. I got a short visit, but at least I got to visit. Hi, Gypsy. At least I got to visit. And listen, all my grandbabies are, I think, the cutest grandbabies in the world. I think I legit have like the most amazingly beautiful grandbabies in the world. These two, however, I'm still asleep. I'm getting eye sleep out of my eyes. These two, however, they were so mature. I can't share anything because we don't want it on the internet because of my career and all that stuff. But they were so mature to be just a year old, and they played well together. They were so sweet, even though the little boy wasn't feeling good. The allergies were getting to him. Everything was blooming down. Everything was blooming. I was almost to Florida. Everything was blooming. And so his allergies were kicking in, but he still was mostly all laughs for us. As soon as I walked in the door and sat down and started saying my phrasings that I say on the video calls and stuff, they were like, "Oh, we know you." And they had no problem crawling right in my lap. It was nice for me to see that they actually remembered me. Let me turn my light up a little bit. They actually remembered me. And they knew who I was because of the work I did with the pattern phrasing and stuff. So word recognition and pattern phrasing, it really does work, y'all. Wow, that thing's bright. Wow. Okay. But it was a really good visit. We just had to beat that weather system back for the travel. It took us like way longer to get down there than anticipated. So we didn't get to have a first evening visit with him, but I did get to spend the whole next day with him. Because there were 3 wrecks and there was no way around Atlanta that was not blocked. And so it took us like 3 extra hours to get down there, but coming back was super quick. So hello everybody. Looks like we've got some new ones in here. Hello. Please behave. Nice. So I did the huge trip. I've been kind of MIA I think I posted Dad's one video that was funny. As y'all know, he used to be a trucker, used to drive mostly that route for his trucking job. And so he was, telling me all the problems he had with his truck going up and down the hills. And you go over, you go right through Signal Mountain, go over Cagle Mountain, you go over all those mountains, and the road is just not pleasant. But it's better than the other route to take, which would have done literally this the whole way there. So we did okay. I like that name. I agree with you. So we had a really nice trip. We just had to come back early because the winds were horrendous. So we got back at like 6 a.m. yesterday. And so I've been in bed, laid down, resting. But I was absolutely so impressed with how mature these little 1-year-olds behaved at lunch. They got in their little high chairs, sat there politely, waited for their lunch, ate quietly, did not throw food. They drink out of those little non-spill sippies. She's weaning them off of bottles except for nap and bedtime. And I was just like, okay, I was a good mom. My daughter's got this. I laid down the groundwork and she's picked it up and applied her own layer on top of that. And she's doing a really great job. And I was just amazed. We put them in the wagon and walked around the property and looked at the flowers and all the ginormous trees they have down there. We had a really good time. I don't like the drive. My RSD did okay, so my neuromuscular disorder didn't really flare up until I got back home, which normally it does. That it has like a delayed reaction unless there's like a lot of trauma. So I got back home, and last night my left foot was like bright red and a little swollen. Other than that, it seems to be my ears that just had the problem with the traveling up and down the mountains in the wind. So right now I'm just tired, a little swollen, but I did better than I anticipated I would do, especially on such a quick trip. So I'm not going to complain. I stayed primarily away from the internet for a few days, which was very nice. It was very nice because the internet, as we all know, is normally where socially inept people come to dump their anger. So if you see somebody putting anger on the internet, it's because they can't express it anywhere else. They don't have a healthy outlet in real life. And so they come to the internet and they dump it because it's the only place they have to put it, and they don't understand what the internet is actually supposed to be for and how it's supposed to be used. And that's why the internet is highly ineffective as a social tool. We don't get the truth or genuine behaviors from people. We get the trash. Primarily we get the trash. That's why it's so hard to find authentic people on the internet. Anyway, I'm gonna shut my psychology master's brain up right now. But I got back and I had been tagged like I don't know how many times in TikToks and a YouTube of this person saying, if the Biden administration had caused all the issues with the chickens, why didn't killing why did killing the chickens only raise the price of eggs and not the price of chicken, like chicken at the store? To which anyone that has lived in the country, had roller house chickens, worked heavily in that industry, y'all know. Y'all know. But let's explain it to everyone else. That's why I came on for a minute, because I'm fixing to eat my little morning round biscuit here. So it didn't killing chickens raise the price of eggs because they called of age laying hens that create eggs. Broiler houses are made up of sterilized genetic mutants that grow to age in 6 to 8 weeks. They're sterile, and all they're worth is meat. They don't lay eggs. They don't do anything else but grow, get fat. You kill them and you eat them. Broiler house chickens. Used to work houses of them. They'd have 21,000 to many more in each house. That is why it only raised the cost of eggs. They only killed of age prime laying hens that were in these big egg factories. Broiler house chickens are genetically augmented to grow to maturity in 6 to 8 weeks. They're sterile. All they do is grow up, get fat, get butchered. They're useless. Other than meat, they're useless. So that's why it didn't mess up the chicken meat prices. It just messed up the chicken egg prices. It was very akin, like when I was tagged in this and watched it, it was very akin to that one boy that attacked me that one time. He was trying to say that it was okay that the guy that went to the cattle sale that wanted to buy a bull and put in a bid was actually given a steer because steers are more docile and easy to handle. And I said, but he's got a breeding program and he needed a new bull. And he said, well, he should be happy he got the steer. They're more docile and easy to handle. Yes, but they can't breed. We have a lot of people on the internet that have a chasm in certain areas of life. That's the only way you can put it. That's the only way you can put it. And so they have a very difficult time trying to understand any kind of subject matter that tries to breach that chasm in their brain. And they get even more angry when they don't understand the logic that you tell them. It's kind of funny. It was funny until I realized how rampant it was and how many people actually are out there that don't understand anything. Nothing. There was a dog at a gas stop on the way down, and you could tell that she was like peeking around the corner and just waiting for somebody to drop food to skirt in and get it. She had her tail tucked way up under her backbone, her little mohawk up, and she would walk sideways and stuff until she'd dart to get it and run away. And I'm looking at the dog going, that is a feral dog, because there was a big wooded area over across the road, and I thought she's probably got pups over there, and she's probably a feral dog. There were women out there going, "Come here, puppy, I'll take you home. Come here, puppy." She's snarling, hunched with a mohawk up, just wanting you to drop your ham sandwich you just bought. Like body language, they did not understand any of it. Well, somebody pulled up that had two dogs in a vehicle with the window halfway down, and that's when you could absolutely tell she was feral. The behavior then was atrocious. And those women were still trying to catch her, and I thought, crazy, you're crazy. That dog is feral. She's probably been feral the majority of her life the way she's acting. I know I'm from the sticks. I spent a lot of time in the city. Maybe I'm just lucky I got a little grasp on both avenues. I don't know. But I saw some stuff that was just like, it was weird. But that's the big controversy that got me on here today, was the people going, why didn't it raise the price of chicken at the store? Only eggs. Well, that's why. Now you know. Now you have some smarts to take and share with your friends. They have separated and isolated and pieced out. I mean, the government turns everything into a chop shop when they put in these grants to basically make everything a federal program and stick their finger in the pedal and pie. They chop shop it up. So no longer can you just have chickens that lay eggs. Normally they reproduce. You let them lay, or you cull the eggs to eat, and then you butcher the older ones. They don't do that anymore. Now they have chickens that are allowed to lay. They're bred and specifically made to produce the most eggs possible in a day. They have roosters that they breed genetically to produce the biggest, best eggs with the hens. But they don't let them actually take nature's course. They actually inseminate the hens. Anyway, then they have broiler house chickens that are genetically augmented to just grow up in 6 to 8 weeks, get fat, and be butchered. They're sterile. They don't do anything. My family has worked in all avenues of this. And it's really a shame, because now you've got all these chickens that, if thrown back into a chicken coop, would die in probably a few weeks from the inability to just be a normal functioning animal. And so lots of times people that work in chicken houses, well, probably 99.9% of the times, people that work in chicken houses will have a chicken lot of their own where they have real chickens that aren't augmented. And if you wonder what they feed these chickens in broiler houses, it's basically crushed up steroids. That's another reason why people that have chicken houses will rarely eat chicken from the supermarket. They always have a chicken lot in the backyard. They always have their own chickens, and they have cultivated a very healthy flock of chickens. And but a lot of people don't know this, because they don't understand what has happened to livestock. When farming and beef farming, meat farming became a federal sport. So, but when they subsidize everything, they basically, take it apart. They chop shop it. The federal government is the best chop shopper I know. They chop shop it and turn it into specific parts that can't function on their own. So they rely on the federal government. But then these animals they create can't go back to nature. They're useless. Like that broiler house chicken will get so fat that it will break its legs, and then it will die. That's all they do. How do I know that? We had some left in the chicken house, because the catchers come in and they catch all that they can, and then they'll leave a few. By the way, you only get paid for the ones that go to market live. And they left a few. We threw them in a separate lot. They will literally eat until they're so fat their legs will break and they will die. That's all they do. That's all they know how to do. They're programmed. And then you look at the food they feed us and wonder why we have a huge problem with weight here. But it's weird. Gypsy says, when I worked at Cobb Hatchery, we couldn't have chickens at home. No, well, when they made that law about that time, but a lot of people around here, up until that law came to be, they would have chicken lots in the back. Now, that's still kind of different. If you work at one of the places where you have to shower in and shower out, and yes, people that are watching this, there are chicken houses, chicken farms where you have to shower in and shower out. Those places are still really strict. Like, you can't have chickens, any kind of bird, fowl, anything at home, basically. The broiler houses used to not be that strict, and you could have a lot. But if you talk to any chicken farmer, somebody in their pretty immediate family will have a rather large chicken lot. That is normally where they get their chicken and eggs, because they see what the industry's done to them. So they don't want to eat it. They don't want to be around it. I mean, it's remote controlled chicken. Who wants that? So it's kind of weird. As I grew up, I looked at these behemoth, broken leg, nasty things, and like if you miss them, picking up the dead ones twice a day in your chicken house. If you miss one, when you eat a chicken out of a broiler house, you're eating a few chickens because they're cannibalistic. They have no brain. They don't act like normal chickens. They have no social behavior, and they're just made to get fat and be butchered. And so, if somebody would take a broiler house chicken and put it in with their chicken lot, it would just stumble around, not really act like the other chickens, kind of stupid. Didn't know how to behave when a predator was around. If a fox came to the fence, it didn't know to be scared. It was just a whole different creature. And so, I saw this as a teenager. I saw it when I worked in horse barns as a teenager, working my way through college. When they started modifying the colts so that people could get specific live birth colors and eye colors, it was just sad. It was just really sad. Never million bomb. He said, I never thought I'd see the day of heirloom chickens. Hey, just wait. Listen, Monsanto owns more than seeds. Yeah, disease control. You shower in, you shower out. But if you talk to those people now, even though they have those really strict rules, there's somebody in their family is still providing the chicken and the eggs and meat for basically everybody. And the more you work in the industry, the less you really want to eat that chicken. It's really sad what they've done. It's sad how they've modified cattle. We talked about double muscling the other day. They want to put double muscles because they want them to mature faster, go to slaughter quicker, make more money for everybody involved. But if they happen to have a heifer that comes out double muscled, that's a problem. Then that heifer's pelvis will be double muscled and it will be solidified. It won't spread. She can never have babies, so they automatically butcher them, send them. So you mess up Mother Nature. We talked about that. Man has been augmenting livestock for over 12,000 years, and all we've done is screw it up. And I'm just going to say, we did a live about this several months ago. The screw ups in livestock mimic the autoimmune disease going on in people right now. If you want to go back and watch that live, you can. But, all these bubbles that are so similar actually overlap, and people need to start understanding that. They say, oh no, they treat their animals like a science project so that we get the best out of them. Yeah. Think about it. A lot of people just don't understand that. My grandpa would make me go in there, and you would get, like, we called them baby duties, baby chickens. You get 4 or 5 black baby duties in every, like, 21,000 house. And to keep me busy, he would say, we've got to get those out of here. And my kid brain was like, oh my gosh, we can't have those in this chicken house, thinking it's going to cause a problem with the rest of the chickens. He just wanted me busy for hours chasing those little black baby duties. And I complied, and I took them all home. And they all inevitably died. You'll get them with 2 beaks, with crooked beaks, with 3 eyes, with 1 leg, with 3 legs. And I knew from a very young age, these are not very healthy chickens. These chickens do not present as healthy as the chickens that we raise. These chickens often have huge issues when compared to the chickens we raise in the backyard. And so I knew, even tiny, before they were talking to me about this, these are 2 very separate worlds of chickens. And then I grew up working broiler houses, and I was just like, these things are nasty. That's just the way I got. Hi, Colin. Matthew worked in the pedigree department, and he went on with the roosters, and then he ended up doing blood work he had to do blood work for several farms. So he had to take several showers a day. I feel kind of sorry for him. But those chickens, they treat they treat them like race horses. They treat them like prime athletes, y'all. So when the federal government got hold of just a simple chicken that likes to cohabitate, think the women are pretty, have a little fun time, make a few, fertilized eggs, and eggs will happen whether you have a rooster or not. But if you want eggs with babies in them that are gonna hatch, you gotta have a rooster. People don't understand that either. Um, but the federal government said, "Oh, look at this very simple thing. Let's subsidize it, and now let's make the roosters have to stay over here. You have to draw the semen from the roosters, and you have to artificially inseminate the hens. Let's put the hens over here, and let's genetically augment them and fiddle with them to make them produce so many eggs that if they're not on a high potent blend of chemicals and antibiotics and hormones in their diet, their bodies will shut down because of the egg production we've created within them. And then let's make the meat chickens go over here, and they're just useless pieces of flesh, but people will need them. We are the only ones that can produce them. The government's the best chop shop I've ever seen. The government's the best chop shop I've ever seen. And if you look worldwide, about every government does it. They find something they can put their finger in every piece of the pie. The pie is not good enough. Every piece of the pie. And that's what they do. They make money. Money, money, money. Money is just, it's a sad, sad thing. But anyway, so I answered the question for the person that asked that. Why did the price of eggs only go up and not the price of chicken meat? Because they only killed laying hens. The broiler house chickens are a separate thing. They don't lay eggs. They're sterile, and it was not bothered. But it's not as bad as me having to tell somebody the difference between a bull and a steer. It's the things I have to explain on the internet. It's so bad. We actually bum rushed to shut down Purdue in our area because we found out they were actually bringing their own employees, that they could pay less if you live 15 to a house, and they were not hiring anyone in the area, but they were using our area for the lower tax bracket and the grants they could get because we're rural, but they weren't actually working anyone in the rural area. They were bringing in their own workers, if you get my drift. And so the whole area petitioned, and basically we ran them out. After we got them in trouble, and we ran them out. But, we were unhappy because we're a very rural area, and we thought they were bringing jobs. They just wanted the tax bracket and the federal grant bracket that this rural area would put them in. It's really sad. It's really sad. But these businesses are normally created by people that have worked in the government. Government's the best chop shop I've ever seen. We are. We some snitches up here. Yeah, we are. And our crime rate in those areas where they would house, it would be like quadruple the crime rate everywhere else. And we reported them that they went in and checked them, and they had mostly undocumented workers that they had flown in illegally. They got in a lot of trouble. Had to pay a butt ton of fines. And then it was found out that many of their factories in the rural areas were doing the same thing. They were getting rural grants and rural funding, but they weren't working the rural people. They were actually bringing in their own workers. Not only that, they were creating a housing issue. It was a sad situation. And it's sad when businesses go, "Oh, I could still clear millions, if not billions of dollars a year and help this area, but let me tweak the rules, violate a few state and federal rules, and let me see if I can pocket an extra $2 instead of actually providing a living wage for the area I'm going to." It's really sad. No one there was on a visa. Everybody was purely illegal. It was a sad situation. We have a lot of the farm worker visa people that come up here, and they normally come back year after year. They kind of become, we see them so much, they kind of become people in the community because they're here so much on their visas working. I don't mind those people. They're paying taxes, and they kind of become part of the little society here. But when they're privately flying in workers that are undocumented, that they pay to house 15 to a house, and they give like one vehicle to get back and forth to work, they don't even make them get a driver's license. That's a pretty crooked business. And it's not doing the people any favors either, because it puts them in a very precarious situation. So it doesn't benefit anyone. I don't know why they think it does. Well, give me something to snitch on you for. I don't know you. How am I? Do I telepathically know you? I wish I was as potent and smart as people thought I was. Like everybody come listen. I said at the beginning, the internet is such a horrible place because the people that have anger issues that can't take them out in real life because they're pansy asses, they come on the internet and they try to take it out on the internet. Listen, I supervised murders for a long time. Okay, I worked with, let me tell you, the cream of the crop in society. Um, Social media really does present like Echo Pod in any jail. They're little banty roosters that have never really been to prison, but they say, "Oh, I've done time," even though they've only been to county, and they strut around. But when put out in a real world scenario, they're that big. They're that big. And they won't do a thing. And I'm just sitting here going, boy, like social media really does present 80% of the time like any small town county jail where they're holding the state inmates that never go to prison. It's actually kind of funny. I get a kick out of it. Because every pod has a pod father. And that is normally the one in the county. Bless his heart, quit school in 8th grade, has, says he's a diesel mechanic, but he only works on Hondas in his backyard. I'm going to get really mean in a minute if I keep going. And I've known some great people come out of actual prison, change their life, and become awesome, great people. I can't say I've ever known anybody come out of county holds multiple times and do anything with their life. Sometimes prison does help. County holds, they don't really help. It's the tier of people they hold there. They hold the nuisance people, but not the troublemakers, just the nuisance people. The actual troublemakers and bigwigs, they send them, to the prisons because they have the ability to hold them. And so they can sort them. They have the psych programs and all the programs. They can get them counseling and all this other stuff and work on their anger management and, give them some education courses. And they don't do that at county. So, hey, that's a healthier way than yelling at people on the internet. I mean, I'll take a win on that one. Humanity has created a lot of scenarios where they do things the most inappropriate and backwards way possible. And I say created, let's change that word to cultivated. So if you look a few hundred years ago at the people that saw this land and thought they need to settle it, the hardcore grit, the desire to make something of themselves, something of the land, just the sheer will that people used to have, that it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. And I told y'all multiple years ago, if you change the vernacular, which is speech and the understanding of speech, you change the vernacular, which changes the vocabulary. You change the vocabulary, it changes the law. You change the law, you basically take out society. People are like, oh, society won't fall that easily. Okay, well, the Phoenicians got completely decimated because the Romans wanted the snails that made the color purple that were often Phoenician shores. Read your history. So men have died because they wanted purple snails. We just got to look at humanity. We're stupid, okay? But as these great empires, got so hoity-toity, they would go out and kill smaller areas because they wanted the purple snails, because royalty wears purple, and that's the only way we can dye things purple is through the purple snails. So man has been kind of screwed up. Every time they try to build a big society, we get screwed up because we emphasize the wrong things. But in this day and age, it's getting kind of crazy, okay? Because I worked in the court system. I worked, like I said, I actually had people that had multiple levels of supervision. I had some I had to work with the feds on. I did interstate compact. I did the PSU, which is the sex offenders. I did every level of supervision. I taught cognitive behavioral therapy to the murderers. I primarily supervised the violent people, the murderers and stuff like that. So I've witnessed a lot of behavior from people. And the one thing I have put through is when you, across all strands, all types of humans, you change the vernacular, you change the vocabulary, you basically change understanding. And like connotation, denotation is the dictionary meaning of a word. Connotation is what it means out in slang in public. As a society, we've gotten to where words only have a connotation. Oh my God, that means words can be bent at the whim and never held to a standard, which means our vocabulary becomes fluid, which is stupid and scary and ineffective at best. But I told y'all that this was how they were going to do it. And everybody's like, oh no, they won't do that. So I watched a news thing this morning, trying to get caught up in the news, where a judge, a low-level judge, same judge has been in a lot of problems actually, a low-level judge was trying to order back an international flight of federal detainees. A low-level judge was trying to order back a flight of illegal federal detainees. Now, the simplest way I can put this in country terms is he didn't have no dog in that race. But there are millions of people out there that are going, they violated a judge's order. Y'all, I have violated judge's orders. You want to know why? It wasn't legal. I read a piece of paper and went, well, that don't hold water. Yeah, we're going to continue with what we were doing. You have to understand the legal system. You have to understand how the courts are stacked. They have a span where they're able to control things, and then the span where they don't. And where one stops, the others picks up, and it just keeps going up the tier. That guy had no business doing that. He had no right to do that. He was just talking out his butt. And people don't know that. They have dumbed down society to where we don't know our own judicial system. We don't know our laws. We don't even know what words mean anymore. Hi, I'm a woman. Prove me wrong. Absolutely. I'm going to call you MMC. Absolutely. He says the social media and technology to make things easier will cause society to become floating blobs. And yes. Yeah, the movie WALL-E does come to mind. Yeah, and they have dumbed us down so effectively. No Child Left Behind meant every child was left behind. The gifted program was not about being gifted. Yeah, there were a lot of things going on. The Common Core. Common Core was probably the most blatant violation of human trust that the education program has ever seen, y'all. So many teachers retired early or just quit because they saw what was occurring. They saw what was occurring. And they were like, I will not be part of this. Absolutely not. We're already behind the rest of the world. Why are we slowing us on down? It was just adding weights to the legs of kids who were already last place in the race. I mean, they've crippled us in every way imaginable. But when I like, listen, you want to see a crippled society? You see a human being who thinks they're accomplishing something when they see a hunk of metal. They put emotions and use this anthropomorphic idiocy to say that hunk of metal's evil because of the manufacturer that made it. It's going to harm me. I must mark it as evil. What are you accomplishing? Now, I think a lot of big businesses are probably evil, but I don't think that the things they create are evil. A lot of people can use them for good. If I don't like the guy that runs the factory, I'll just not buy the stuff. It doesn't bother me that other people buy the stuff. That's their choice. But I don't see, like, if I hated Toshiba, I wouldn't see a Toshiba TV or laptop and go, oh, I got it. No, that's not a real thing. It's not going to benefit me in any way to harm it. So we've got a whole little generation of idiots running out there beating up Tesla cars thinking they're doing something. And the funny thing is, most people that own Teslas are the people that are supposed to be on their side. So it's kind of like, eat your own. You ain't hurting Elon Musk. He done sold the darn things. He done pocketed the cash. What do y'all think you're getting at? It's just absolutely hilarious. Hi, Sal. Oh, Lord, patent attorney. Oh, yeah. You've seen a lot, haven't you? Yeah. I kind of was, I lost, I thought I had this great job where I could change lives. And then I noticed when I was actually changing lives and impacting people, they hated me. Like, I came in, I was doing this awesome, efficient job. I was getting these awards and commendations and getting promotions. And then the more I followed the law, the more lives I changed, the better my success rates were. They hated me. I even got a phone call one day that said, listen, you need to send 33% back to prison because that's how we fund the state. I only do warrants on people that violate their supervision. I just got a big success rate. Well, then they started giving me multiple counties. I had up to 5 times the offenders you're supposed to legally have. They were trying to flush me out. But like people that wouldn't work half their paycheck, they would take like 4-hour lunches, disappear. The other officers would have to see their people. They would protect those people because they knew that their hands were dirty, so they would protect other people who had dirty hands. And I was so sick. It was a bad feeling. It was a bad feeling. And I saw backroom deals in courthouses, so people's kids get out, and I was just like, no. How can we expect people to come out and follow the law if the people that are punishing them don't even follow the law? Like, what kind of example are you people? But we have a society with very few examples anymore. Very few examples. Yeah, Common Core, Sally, it ruined my mother. She retired early. She was like, I'm through with this. She retired early because she could not stomach it, so she retired early. I did an AmeriCorps contract one year where I actually tutored the kids that were behind, and it was right before the introduction of Common Core. I've had those grown adults now come back and tell me, oh my God, I'm so glad you helped me. Had I waited another year or two, Common Core would have kicked in. I would never have become a literate adult. I taught more parents to read too because parents need to help kids. So I taught parents how to read too. Like if the kid was having trouble, I would go visit the home and say, okay, parents, we're going to learn to read too. And they all appreciated it. It wasn't my job, but I did it because I was there for the success of the kid, which heavily relied on the parents. Yeah, that's what I thought about when I said it too. Eat the red. Yeah. That era of music told a lot of truths, didn't it? Inner Sandman, not Inner Sandman, one came on the other day, and I was telling my husband that this song was based on a real life event. And he was like, how do you know these things? And I was like, because music used to actually teach things. It actually used to educate you. It was really, it was really profound once. It either taught you language, vocabulary, imagery, imagination, or it was a way to maintain, those oral histories. It doesn't do that anymore. I wish it did, but it certainly does not. I grew up listening to all genres, all types, times, coming from boondocks. A lot of bluegrass is oral history, but I would listen to Queen, death metal. I would literally listen to everything. One of my favorite country musicians, and he's a sweetie pie, is J.J. Lawhorn, and he is still kind of doing the oral history in his music a lot, especially around hunting, houndsmen, people that keep those old ways alive. I really appreciate him for it. It is. Music now is all AI generated. Boy, oh, everybody. See, I knew y'all. I knew y'all hated Common Core, and I knew y'all had done your homework. Hey, if you start looking into a lot of stuff that now afflicts humanity, you'll find so many things. Like, let's look at let's look at the Church of Satan. Let's just jump right in there. Let's look at the Church of Satan. You know the Church of Satan. This is how it got founded. So there was a guy that was in one of the military branches that was found to be diddling where he shouldn't be diddling with people not of age. That's the nicest way to say that for this social platform. So while he was being investigated, they said, no, we're done with you. We're going to kick you out of the military. We can't have that. He came back and said, you kicked me out before I was convicted and you violated my rights, blah, blah, blah. He won huge awards through that lawsuit and used every penny to start the Church of Satan. So actually, the Church of Satan was funded by our military. And that makes me go, was it actually funded because he sued them, or was it set up to do that? Because then you look at what the Church of Satan has created and all the things it's changed, and you're like, was that done on purpose? It just makes me wonder. And yes, if you see somebody else do that, yes, she and I are doing it for the same reason. Yeah, JJ is such a sweetie pie. And his family is so adorable. Kelsey's actually super sweet. Like, she's so beautiful. She's a super down-to-earth girl. Hey, simple girl. Sally, isn't it sad that we have so many qualified people, but it's like they won't allow us to teach anything that is actually going to educate anybody. They won't allow our society, or they won't allow humanity to grow anymore. And if you do grow, if you do question things, you become a problem. They don't want minds that are going to invent and create anymore. Those need to be cultivated, pedicured to certain lineages so that the money stays where the money's supposed to stay. And people are like, well, that's not true. They don't pick people. They don't pick. And then I tell people this every time. I have a higher education than Bill Gates. But he's dictating your health. Think on that for a minute. Stephen Wilson Jr.'s great music. I'm going to have to go and check that out. I probably have listened, but I probably didn't register. I listen to everything. And half the time I put stuff on, it just pilfers through genre. And I'm cleaning house. And lots of times I'll stop and try to see what song it is. But sometimes I don't. I need to. I heard a song the other day. It's a bluegrass song. It was a new age bluegrass. I wouldn't call it bluegrass. I'd call it country. But it was about how life starts out like a pristine. How can I put this? It starts out like a pristine well, and then as you become an adult, the water gets muddy. And it was such a well-written song, and it had such a simple name, and for the life of me, it's evading me, and I've been trying to find that song for like 2 months. It was really good, though. And I was like, okay, I would totally listen to them again. Totally. Oh, yeah. You are the music guru. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm eating my blueberry morning round. Sorry, I'm hungry. But that's the only reason I come on this morning. I wanted to share that with you. Let the rest of you know if you didn't know how chickens and eggs worked. Now you do. Per the industry. Per the chicken industry, not in nature. When you look at something that's natural and then you look at the subsidized part of it, just look at it as a chop shop. The government takes it apart so that we can't put it back together. Just like Monsanto, they reverse engineered seeds so that you can buy their seeds, but that your Monsanto seeds will not repropagate. So the seeds you get off those plants will not grow a plant. So you have to go back to Monsanto and get more plants. Seeds, really, if nobody's ever had a real seed, you can grow something, get the seeds out of that thing you've grown, plant again. That's how we farmed for centuries. A lot of people don't know that. Monsanto changed the seed world. They also own the patents on all the seeds. It's also, in some areas, illegal to send seeds across state lines now. They take it, it's a chop shop. They take it apart. They take it apart, hoping that we will never be able to reassemble it and that we will always be begotten to the man above. And I'm not talking about God, I'm talking about Bill Gates, for everything we need. Yeah, I'm a little surly about that, just a little bit. Our trip was really fast. My dad was a truck driver, so we go places and we come back. But we were going to stay another day, but there was a huge weather system that created a bunch of wind, and we decided we needed to beat it back. Georgia has no windbreaks, and the interstate doesn't either. And we were just doing a short trip anyway because we just needed to jump down and visit and jump back, take all the birthday goods. But I had a whole day of canoodling, and it was nice. I was in my granny era. I was just eating it up. I got some really precious videos and pictures. Can't share them with y'all. I'm sorry. But my little granddaughter will actually go to the back porch. She has to get on the second step of her slide, little daredevil, and she has to yell at the goats across the pasture, and she'll go goats, and she can't say ghosts, but she's making the sound when she's trying goats, and then the goats go and she'll go goats, and they just back and forth all day. And I was laughing all day. She's a booger. I was laughing all day. It was a good day. The little twin boy was having some allergy issues, but it was. I was just in hog heaven. I had done with the video calls and stuff. I had done the voice patterns, the word patterns, and certain phrasing so that they would recognize me. And that's how I started the calls, ended the calls. And when they gave me individual attention, those are the phrases I would repeat. And I was trying to kind of get the voice pattern recognition going with them. And so we all went in to the house and they were like, well, a lot of people are just coming to our house. And the little girl was like, hi, who are you? And as soon as I opened my mouth, she was like, oh, I know you. And I was like, oh, thank God I did all those months of work. So they were right in my lap. It was fun, yeah, and it was difficult to travel, and I'm still swollen and tired. I'm probably gonna sleep a lot more today. I really want to make that raccoon clutch because I'm staring at it because I pulled everything out last night, and I was like, oh, but my eyes are still a little fuzzy from the traveling and the pull on my immune system, and I'm just a little tired. Plus, we've got weather that's moving through. It's getting cold here today, and I'm just like, do I have the energy? I don't know. I really want to work on it, and if I do work on it later, we'll do a crafting live. But that was a big trip. We left Monday morning and got back Wednesday morning. So we were going to, sleep all through Tuesday night and come back, but then that wind moved up, and that wind's hard to drive in, and so we slept till midnight Tuesday, got up, checked out, and moved and come back. Oh, did it kick you out, Amy? I'm sorry. YouTube don't like me much. I can't imagine why. Oh, you're blessed. Oh, I would love to have more time. They're so far away, but I have to say they're very well established. They're doing great. The kids are awesome. My daughter's very independent, so I don't really worry. I raised her. She's stubborn. She's doing great. The babies are phenomenal. They're so well behaved, advanced, and chill. I was really impressed. They've got such a great little home life set up. Her husband is just such a great provider and worker, and boy, he grilled while we were there. He grills real good. So, and she is wanting to bring him up to visit too. But when I'm little, it's just too much. And I was so sick last year that they wouldn't let me travel. And I busted my butt to be able to make this trip. And I will tell you, I exhausted myself, but I enjoyed every second I was there. I enjoyed every second I was there. Yeah, I mean, we just kind of don't. And it's just good protocol to make sure you have permission and stuff. But with my career, yeah, I still have murderers coming out of prison that I put back in prison. So we're like, probably shouldn't do that. Um, but it's just very scary with the quality. Sometimes, let's just face it, 99% of the time, the quality of people you see on social media is not that great. And I stay out here in YouTube land like a little buoy, just bobbing around waiting for common sense people to find me. And I'm so glad y'all do. I'm kind of like the last beacon, and then I send y'all to Sabrina over on the Odyssey platform at Synergy, PSINERGY. And then you get a little bit more education about some more in-depth topics that we can't talk about here. And Sabrina is probably going to be visiting soon. We're going to make that live happen. I just had travel and all this happen, and she's been getting over some health stuff and dealing with a bunch of research. But we're going to make that live happen. But she's also probably going to be visiting probably around end of spring. We were talking. She was sent me a voicemail the other night. We've been talking back and forth, and she's like, I'm really getting to where I want to travel to see you. So I expect her to be down soon. Yeah, well, if you have any kind of job in the limelight, you have to be so careful because sadly, we just don't, used to be, and just say it, used to be there was a certain quality consensus amongst society. There's not anymore. There's not. And sadly, the internet, which could be used for such positive things, is normally used for such negative things. And so it's just very hard to find good quality people. And that's why everybody's like, why do you do so many lives? So you get to know me. I do videos too. I don't always brush my hair, put on makeup, dress up. I don't always clean my house. I'm visiting with a friend. If I got something important to say, everything else can go to heck. I've got something important to say. But I do long-term live so that you can gauge my personality, because if I'm constantly cultivating what you see, then I have created a person, and that's who you think I am. And you can never get to know somebody in a cultivated 5 to 20-minute video that they never show you any amount of themselves other than a 3-minute live is not going to let you learn somebody, because they can still they're doing a whole little act for you. So y'all see me in all states of being, and it's important to do that to get to know people. Sabrina is so sweet. I mean, she's so smart, but she has such a tender heart, and she always wants people to know. Like, she always wants people to know her motivation behind things, because I don't know, she wants people to believe her, because she feels it's so important for people to actually have this knowledge and understanding. And I'm just like, if you don't like me, you can just go on, but she really wants people to learn. And I'm like, you can't teach everybody. And she gets that, and but she tries so hard, and she will wear herself out. I mean, that's just how sweet she is. She tries so hard. And I'm kind of, throw it out there, and the ones that need it will follow the trail, and the others won't, But she's nicer than I. She's nicer than I. She does. She's the sweetest person, and like, everybody thinks she is just those 20-minute videos that you see, and she's not. She is such a sweet person. As soon as she gets off her videos, she's gears back down, and she'll get up here and cook and do dishes, and she just gets in the flow of things here. It's just like having a sister, and I just enjoy her being here. She's got a really good energy about her, as I'm sure y'all understand. Oh yeah, you would think that people would welcome people that are open and honest, but it terrifies people who, number one, have something to hide or want to help somebody else hide something. So sadly, our whole society has become very much a shadow society, to where we think real life is shown in 60-second or 3-minute lives or very well groomed and edited videos. We actually frown upon real life being shown anymore. And it's because those people that frown on it, they want to be perfect. So they want to look for the perfect people and the perfect manicured lawns and houses and the perfect meals. And they really strive to be that, and they don't want to show anybody their failure. So that's what they look for in society. We all have failures. We all have laundry baskets. You know, I am very crass when I talk about this. They only want to see certain parts of life. Well, listen, we're all humans. We all eat shit and piss. We all do things we don't want to talk about, but it's part of being a living being. We all have sides of ourselves that are not the most attractive, but it takes the whole person, you know, to understand the average being, you know. And so a lot of people never get to know anybody anymore. You visit for sometimes I don't have it. Sometimes my adult conversation goes out completely out the door, and I just have to be mean. Gypsy, you be careful today. Love you. Gypsy's my BFF, man. I gotta go visit her. As soon as the weather stays a season for more than 2 days, I'm gonna go up and visit. I try to hide from the trolls too, but every time me and YouTube fuss, and when David is over YouTube, like he's just like, you know, I'll kind of fuss with him. I like to fuss. That's why I used to work in the correction field. I will fuss with you. But he was like, I'm done with it. Now he's like, okay, it's worth trying, you know. And I'm just like, they're good people. You know, we got good people here, Dave. Just, you know, keep giving them good content and people will always come back. Oh, thank you, Gypsy. There's the link to Dave's Etsy store. Somebody bought that Cody bag that I made. That rustic Cody bag. I hope they like it. I'm fixing to do a more refined attempt at a pocketbook. And David pretty much, he buys everything to let me play. I craft to keep my arthritis at bay and my sanity here, because living in Winter Wonderland this year, oh my gosh. But I'm wanting to do a more refined purse. That's my next craft. Of course, I'm crocheting and doing all this stuff too, but that's my next craft, is a more refined rustic purse. Yeah, I try to lay it out there just as the easiest pickup as possible. That's how I dole out information. Now, sometimes when Sabrina does her little 10-minute things, it will take me like 2 days to research and understand. And then I go, oh, and then I try to lay it out a little bit easier. But her brain is so complex. And now I'm getting to where I can hang on with her because I've learned her lingo, but it takes a while to learn it. So don't feel bad. It takes you a while to learn it. But she will teach you so much. Like for what you get in those segments she does, you get so much information. It's the biggest bang for your buck, you know, intellectually. Oh yeah, I like to have fun with the trolls too. I like to pick on them. It's mean. Sometimes I feel that they actually sincerely need help, and sometimes I pick on them. Sally, it's great. Like, she actually teaches you that you can learn this stuff, and she's, you know, she's way up here, but and sometimes she talks way up here, but she will inevitably bring it down here. And then I try to grab stuff and talk about it in a different way too. And we work really well when we play off of each other. That's why we're trying to make this live happen, because it reaches 2 to 3 times as many people, because we get to disseminate the information in multiple ways immediately. And so that's why we're trying to work on this. And time frames, we need to have the firewall present during everything. So that's another hurdle. If y'all know the firewall, that's her husband. We need to have the firewall present when we do the live so that we have some safety parameters. So it's kind of a logistical nightmare, but we're going to make it happen. If we can stop getting sick or having weather issues. Yeah, Sabrina, she's it's nice for people to see someone who is so smart but still have, like, most of the time that people, I'm just trying to find my words, because most people will say if you're smart, you can't, you won't follow religion. I don't like that word, but she actually is a very good portrayal of being so smart that you understand how simple it is to be spiritual. It really is at a core of who we are. And I think that's why society has a lot of problems, is when you take away that one core component, it kind of wrecks everything else. I used to tell people in counseling, you have to be accountable to something. I don't care if it's your cat Booger at home. You have to hold yourself accountable to something, because if you put yourself on the top tier, you will approve behaviors and then approve, beliefs that are not conducive to society or yourself. And that's where we start to see a huge downfall. And she's really important for people to see that. Yeah. And her faith is very simple. It's very simplistic, and people think it has to be complex. It doesn't. It's from a very simple core place. It's really good for people to see. Yeah, sometimes the more people that join, it causes her channel to have problems. Now, if you want to go ahead, she's not going to be mad at you or anything. But sometimes it causes the channel over there to have problems. But I think she's going to have problems regardless. So you go ahead if you need to. Oh, I'm glad it all linked up for you, Sally. That's good. I know, yeah. Isn't it funny? Like, people, when I was little growing up, my Bible would always fall open to Ephesians 6:12. So I had an inkling at a very young age in life that it was not going to be an easy ride. But I had no idea that it was, it's talk about understanding early what was to come, but not really grasping the full hit. Yeah, Sally, have you ever noticed how okay, when I first got on YouTube, I did, because of my career, I got asked to do some true crime stuff. And I was happy to help some younger channels, but when I told them that some of their behavior could cause them legal issues and that they needed to not do that, they got mad at me, because they wanted the views that came along with that behavior, but they didn't want to be called on that behavior. So they all started to turn on me. And I said, "Oh no, we don't play that game." And so they found out real quick that you can't kowtow me, you can't corral me, and I get pretty much left alone on the YouTube streets. People pretty much leave me alone. They know I'm going to come on here and do my thing. I'm not going to be altered. I am the river. I cut right through it. It's really hard to harness me. So they've given up, and so I just do my own thing. But you'll also notice it means there are no sponsors coming to this channel for trapping gear or anything else. Monetization is a figment of my imagination. So we also lose a lot of that. We get shadowed a lot because of our lifestyle, and but I have to say, I don't get bothered. And I think it's really good that the good people, do end up finding us. It's like you will find what you set out to seek for on the internet. You will, which is another sad indicator of where our society is. Oh, yeah. My Bible fell open to Ephesians 6:12. I mean, every time, and it wasn't just the one Bible; it was every Bible I owned. And I was just like, "I got you, loud and clear, got it." And I mean, since I was probably 12, and I was like, "Okay, understood." And life has not been easy. Life has not been easy. Oh yeah, the true crime. They really tried to hassle me, and I was like, "Why are you trying to hassle me? I'm trying to save your butt. You just violated what could be a federal issue because you're across state lines from the story. So you're creating an issue in either an investigation or the child care, or somebody was trying to get leaked information of kids in custody, of kids in like DCS custody. I was just like, you people are stupid. And I called them out on it, and they hated me for it. And I was like, I don't freaking care. It's like, my life's been fine for 40 something years without you. Do you think you really gonna matter that much to me? But people do. People, we have such people want to hold people emotional hostages now. So you don't see a lot of real behavior online, but you see people that they manipulate emotions. And I'm here to tell you, if people want you to feel big emotions, take a step back, because they want to control you. That's how you are manipulated. That's why we have idiots violating Tesla cars thinking they're doing something big. That Tesla car don't care that you smacked it, honey. And Elon don't either. He done been paid. People are just weird. Just weird. People are strange beings. Yeah, it is. It's crazy they treated me that way. But I mean, it's just that hostility because they were young, but they were getting views, and they thought that my logic or common sense was going to cause them, was going to either going to steal views or cause them to stop getting views. And I was like, they cared more about the views than they did the safety of the people that were still being investigated or protected in their stories. And it was just Amy, it was weird. And it still happens. That's how Sabrina and I really linked up. She had caught me on a couple of lives where I was like, ignore the towel in my head. I've got something to tell you. And so she knew I was just trying to get information out there. And then I said something about the way, that Ephesians 6:12 had been like the current in my life. That was what was always there and always shaping my life. And she bravely reached out to speak to me because she's not one to really do that. And we just immediately felt like we had found the other piece to a puzzle. I mean, we finished each other's puzzles, and I felt like I've known her my whole life, and we just have became, we're family. We're family. Sally, exactly. That's what I don't understand. I'm like, that most of the people that own these Teslas are on your side of the fence, but go right ahead. It's like, go right. If you feel the need, go right. I mean, we've taught so many people that their behavior should be cultivated by that momentary emotion. I spent years telling people, you are not your emotions. Your emotions are bus stops. You'll ride one for 15 minutes and you'll stop and get on another. If you don't like the one you're on, just wait. Another will come along. So that they weren't controlled by their emotions. But now they want everybody controlled by their emotions. But then they want to finagle their hormones, chemical composition, everything to further control their emotions. And I'm like, do you not see what's going on here? Or they want to sterilize people and take away the biggest coping mechanism that adults have. Well, that's not going to do anything good. I mean, you take a bone away from a dog, you've created a problem. Now take the biggest coping mechanism away from adults that you have to grow into. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's not going to do anything bad. It befuddles me, but Sabrina gets treated horribly, and it's because people know. People that are in the know listen to her, and they know that she's reaching real people with real information, and it terrifies them. And so they're like a cat in a litter box trying to cover it all back up. Hey, Hillbilly Lives Matter, how you doing? Long time no see. I hope you're okay. Oh, are you okay? You know how to get in touch with me. Let me know how you're doing. I have had to pull away from Ryan, and here's the thing. I adore Ryan. His brain and his lyrical, the way he paints a picture with his words, especially of the country, which he's not been doing a lot of lately. He's just been more of an angst-ridden, I don't know. But y'all know back when all the combobulation happened with his family. And I said, okay, now we're going to see what the problem is. If he has another big hiccup in 6 to 8 months, he still has work to do. If the hiccup stopped, then it was his family. Well, then we had another hiccup. Then he alluded to using a specific substance only in the studio. And I said, you can't do that because that substance, if not used correctly, can really damage your brain, and you'll start having behavioral issues. And I wonder sometimes if maybe that's not what we're seeing. I can't say that for sure, and that's just my stupid opinion. And I several times was like, you need to be in, just being famous, you probably need to have a good trusted counselor to talk to about everything you're experiencing. I've said that several times. But I wonder what we're saying. I just can't do the drama, and I can't watch young people being led by their nose to behave like idiots. And I really thought when he worked with JJ that JJ might rub off a little bit on him, because JJ, no matter what he's singing about, he's really solid, calm, quiet, and he immediately goes back home and turns into dad. And I thought, okay, that's going to rub off. Did not rub off. I thought maybe having a kid would settle him down. It seems to only have made it worse. And so everything's having an alternate effect. And some of that could be to brain composition and, just individuality. And some of it could be to other things. And some of it could just be pure spite and wanting to stay relevant in the social media world. Like I said, most people don't gravitate toward positives. So, there's so many things it could be, and you're just not going to figure it out in the small little things he shows you. Like I said, it takes long-term, long-format content. You really have to watch somebody for a long time, and even then, you really don't know them. It takes physical contact and immediate knowledge of somebody, and you don't get that in social media. And sadly, that's how we know everybody now. Like, communities don't exist anymore, and you don't know anybody online. Even me, even as much as my life as I show you, you still don't know all of me. And so I don't know. People just trust people too much online. I feel really bad for Ron, though. Cats, you like my analogy? Oh, they're busy. They never do the job right, but they're busy. Oh, thank you, Sally. I think you probably made a good decision. You need to take care of you, Hillbilly. If nobody else, you got to take care of you. And I think you probably made a really good decision. Oh, Ryan at church. Sorry. Just talking. There was a time that, he was in a different place and doing much better. And I really enjoyed some of his thoughts. And I can say, sadly, now I don't enjoy any of his content anymore. Some of the songs will still roll up when I'm shuffling through my music, and I still enjoy the songs, the older songs. I've not listened to anything in a while. I just feel like somebody took his spark plug out, or it's corroded, and I just want to take it out and hit it with sandpaper and put it back in and see if it works better. It's just something's missing now that wasn't missing before, and I'm worried about him, but I can't change his world, and I can hope that maybe what he's showing is not the truth and he's actually got it more together. I hope, but yeah, I don't know. I worry about him, but that's the mama hen in me. Sally, good tip. Good tip for Hillbilly. She said to make sure that before you get discharged, you get a copy of all your medical records, because it will be heck trying to get them later. And you'll need them. And things will disappear and change. I've had a lot of family in the military. Oh, you saw that? Okay. Oh, you're going to be making some money. Hey, if I could go back and do things over again, I probably would have went for a vocational. And diesel mechanic probably would have looked real good, or welding would have looked really good to me. Of course, I was a tomboy bumpkin. I thought I was going to change the world. If y'all ever wanted to know how naive I was, I thought I was going to get an education and change the world. I did change several people's lives for the better, and I did make a pretty good change in the communities that I supervised in, and I still have people that come to me for help. So I am still actively helping people. Um, and maybe it was just the timing where I was the last generation to know what being without an internet was, but then using technology and seeing the huge change, the arc of misery of humanity from no technology to technology to technology. Maybe it took the wind out of my sails. I don't know. But it became harder to authentically reach people. And I just wanted to do more. Of course, then, add in my health with everything that occurred. I just wanted to do more. Yeah, everybody toss up just super good energy for Ryan. He's got a baby now, and, he's got everything he needs. But can he understand that? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. The VA has pulled some punches in their time, let me tell you. My family saw that a lot. My uncle actually retired from the Air Force. He spoke in Congress a few times. He was a pretty important person, but the crap he has been through, let me tell you. Sabrina's, if you get on the Telegram, you better have thick skin if you get on the Telegram. I will warn you, put it right out there. But if you can get in with a really good synergist that are the core people, you're going to find a good group of people and a good sounding board and support society. What movie was it that said I act this way so the world doesn't change me? Oh gosh, I don't know, but I've heard that. I'm one of those people that if you try to change me, I'm going to go the other way. I learned from livestock, I would like to say, like that mean horse that knew exactly who it was. You try to train it, and you showed it, and it went the other way. It sat back, and yeah, that's me. I am the mule. Yeah, I learned the hard way too, and it's caused me a lot of health issues. Like but I have to. When I think, oh, I've been through a lot, then I sit down and I start counting the people's lives that I know are no longer in prison, are not in juvenile detention, have been successful, no more contact with law. And I'm like, okay, I can't, no more drug addiction. I'm like, I can't fuss, because there's no way that I could value my one existence over all those people that I've touched. So I'm like, I can't fuss, I'm still going, I'm still doing, I'm just gimpy and sick a lot. But if I had been said you have to trade this to help salvage so many people's lives, I would have done it. So I can't fuss about it. I hope so, Sal. I hope I've done more good than most. That was the whole point. Oh, Amy. I'm impressed. That's I in high school there was a guy that was hard heavy trying to get me to join the Marines, the recruiter. He was after me big time. Of course, I was also benching like 150 pounds and and not squatting, leg pressing like close to 700. I hated squats. But the leg press machine, I liked it. I lifted weights with the football team. I had a special permission because the women's weightlifting, they couldn't spot me. So I had special permission from certain hours to lift with the football team. I loved it. And I worked cattle and shod horses. So I needed to be strong, and of course did farm labor. And, I was dad's farm hand. I was never treated like a girl. And the Marine recruiter, he tried so hard. But I knew with my little belligerent mindset, I probably didn't need to go in the military. So I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, would it have been a better option? But now that I'm old, I say I'm old, and now that I'm almost 47, I'm like, no, I should have gone a vocational route and just done mechanic or welding or, there's a whole bunch of agronomy related jobs I could have done that wouldn't have been near as bad for me. Yeah, I'm a mule too. I learned a lot from mules. I told my judge one time because I did some probation too. I told my judge one time, I said, I think that all inmates just need to be tied to a mule for a month and they learn how to treat something with respect, because that mule will remember. And it won't punish you right then, but it'll hang on to it for 10 years and it'll get you when you least expect it. And when you have something like that, you think about how you treat it because you know it's going to come back. I think inmates could do a lot if they still had the mules, and they did a lot of the programs like that in prisons. Now, some of the prisons do the animal programs have a much higher success rate. It's hard to help people coming out of prison because supervision, parole, probation, determinate release, it's not made to be successful. It's made to make money for the state. And I tell people that up front. It's not made for you to be successful. So if you have any issues at following any kind of orders or paying these fees and fines, just flatten your time and come out responsible to nobody, because it's not made to be successful. I was just telling the truth because I generally, it hurts them more if they come out and they flubber again and go back. That hurts their psyche more to where they just give in and they become that alter ego all the time. And so I would always be honest with them. Yeah, I know. We've got a living legend. Amy's like a living legend in here. Character. That's a big thing that we don't have in society anymore, isn't it? Amy, that's impressive. I think, and yeah, like I always try to make my decisions. Like I'm going to be held accountable to everything I do one day, and I'm going to get zinged for a lot because I have a mouth on me and I don't have an edit button and no delay. But I honestly, at the end of the day, try to do more good than negative. And and I'm still fall super short because I'm sarcastic. But yeah, people don't try to do that anymore. It's all about what can I get, what can I have. Like I had a viewer bless me last week, and instead of like going ooh, it was like, okay, who can I share this with? And that's just the way I think. And I wish other people thought like that. So I'm like right now, like thinking of, and I've shared a few things already, but I'm like putting out feelers for people that need certain things so I can share the blessing. And it's like, and all these heirloom seeds, I've already had people be like, yeah. And so we're going to do a seed split. And that's just the way I think. And I just wish in our society, I wish we still thought like that. Amy, you're right. There's no integrity almost at all in the world today. The character flaws are just Lord. We have such a deficit. I won't say there are none. We have such a deficit that it's very hard for young people growing up to have any kind of example. Any kind of example. And it's just horrible. Yeah, a lot of younger generations, they don't get that Gen X sarcasm. Yeah. And if they do, they get butt hurt. And then they try to make something of it. And I'm like, ugh. Hi, Annette. Annette's like the OG group of people. But those are the few news stories that I saw that kind of made me go, huh? Y'all ever have those days you just sit back and go, huh? The judge is out of his mother flipping mind. Okay. Judges think they have such control, but it really is quite limited. And a lot of it's bluff. A lot of it's bluff. I'm not lying. But a lot of their power overlaps or then ends and another picks up. And so they don't always know. The longer they've been on the bench, the bigger they think their power is. And so when this low-level judge told illegal federal detainees on an international flight. They needed to come back. I was like, okay. I actually laughed. I was laughing at the radio when I heard it. I was like, must be nice to be so full of yourself. I don't guess I've been there yet. If I ever get there, I'll let you know if it's nice. Oh, Annette, that's a good way to start every day. I know. I was just like, huh, that judge said what? I honestly think it's just where logic has been dismantled, and a lot of it, I'm going to throw back to what I said a few years ago. Take away the vocabulary, you change the vernacular, you change the you change the law, you change the law, you change society, and it goes, and that's where we are. Because once you dismantle the spoken word and you can bend it to your will, you have inevitably given everyone what they think is the power to disrupt all society. So, good luck. And now we've got people that, if they believe it, it's true. And that's not the way things work. But we can't counter that and say that's not that's not the way things work, because then we'll hurt their feelings, and then we'll end up in a lawsuit. And we have really just as a human race flubbed our dub. It's really sad. It's really sad. Oh, Amy, I've been there too. It's a hard wall to hit. I had a lot of very frustrating days after my surgeries and this stupid neuromuscular disorder set in. I had a lot of frustrating days. So I understand, honey. I'm glad I made you smile, made you laugh. It's normally what I do. Some days I can get really serious, but it's normally what I do. But I wanted to come on and talk about the news over the last couple of days. If I see anything else today and I feel like it later, I'll pop back on. I really do want to work on that clutch purse today. I just don't know if I'm going to have the energy to do it. And my eyes are still a little fuzzy from where I traveled and kind of overdid it. My immune system goes down, my eyes get fuzzy. But by some means, if I have the energy to do something later, we'll do a live. I just don't know what all I'm going to get around to. You're welcome. I just don't know what all I'm going to get around to today. And it's kind of gotten really cold. A little bit of flurries going around here, and weather. And my neuromuscular disorder, they don't like each other. So I just, on these days, I kind of just deal with what I can do and then let the rest go. So we'll see where I get today. I just had to share that. The egg thing cracked me up. The judge cracked me up. Just a lot of things cracked me up. Traveling, listening to the radio, I was just kind of laughing. Oh, and if y'all know that I talk about the Mr. Bauman at the leather shop that I go to. He's Amish. I adore Mr. Bauman. The Baumans are like they're my favorite people. And sadly, while I was traveling, Mr. Bauman's wife passed away. They are an elderly couple. I love them to death. They're just sweet people. Sadly, Miss Bauman passed away. She passed away at home while I was traveling. So Mr. Bauman is going through quite an event right now. So if y'all could toss up some prayers and some good energy for Mr. Bauman, I'm sure he'd appreciate it. I know he's strong enough to get through this, but it never hurts to toss up some good energy for somebody. And two of the sweetest people, super talented, sweet people. And I'm sad he's going through that. I know he's got his own comfort, but it's just nice to think about people when they're going through something like that. See, we've got so many people just like, you can yell at me. And of course, you can, if you need to email me, it's watersworkload@gmail.com. And when I am able, I normally will give you a way to immediately get in touch with me. And if I'm up and going, I respond fairly decently. If I get all the notifications living in Podunk kind of interferes. Um, Priscilla on here sent me a voice message, and I got like a small clip of the voice message the first day, but it took like 3.5 days for the whole voice message to download on my phone. I have never had that happen in my entire life, ever. But at the same time, my mom's phone was having problems. I don't know if it was something with the phones here, but I've never had part of a message come in and then it stopped and stay there for like 3 days and then never in my life. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to blame it on Bill Gates. That's my go-to. So it's just weird. So phones are janky up here, to be quite honest. I do try to check my email at least every evening. And then if like something is super, super important or you're having a problem, I will give you a way to get in touch with me. Are they doing it? Okay, well, that could have been it. Because I know Priscilla probably thought I'd died, fell off a cliff somewhere, but I was like, I'm not getting the message. So, yeah, my phone it's not been right for a while. And it's not just my phone, it's like other people's phones up here. So I thought maybe it's just podunk and the weather, but maybe it's the updates. I do know that it did a massive update when we travel, and it seems to be doing a little bit better right now. I passed Solar Farm on the way down there. Literally for like a mile on the left was nothing but solar panels. And these people produce solar electricity for a specific place, and then what they bank, they sell back to the state. And I thought, I mean, they've got to be making buku money. But then I looked at all that, and some of the most toxic places in our nation are, well, cemeteries. Cemeteries are some of the most toxic land in our nation. And then solar farms. And so to drive past that one for that, it was kind of awe-inspiring to see it. But then you had to think that's probably some of the most toxic land from all the chemicals in those panels. But I think the same things, and it's not that I like begrudge anybody to have a place to mourn. We've turned death into a business. We've chop-shopped everything up to make money off of it. And so we've ruined our land in the process. And so it just makes me think when I go past places like that. But I had never seen so many solar panels in all my born days. Like acres and acres of nothing but. Squirrel net. No, chipmunk net. It's up here. We are like literally 25 years behind everybody up on this mountain. I swear we are. Probably, Annette. You may be on something there. Oh, it's starting to mist pretty good here. The tin roof's dripping. This weather is crazy. The weather's crazy. It amps up my issues, but I'm doing okay. I traveled okay. Now you have my media funnies for the travel time. I'm still in like glaze over grandma mode, so I'm super happy about that. And I just had a good trip, fast trip. We're trying to make sure that we get some more routine trips established, to spend more time together. Although they did know who I was. Yay for voice pattern recognition. It really does come in handy with toddlers. But I had a really good trip. Really good trip. Sally, it's cold here too. I wish you would pick a season and stay, because we've had like tornado snow. I'm over it. Like, I'm over it. Stop pushing the buttons. I'm over it. It's getting really annoying. So I'm going to heat up my little blueberry round again. I'm going to eat it, and then I'm going to rest some more. I just wanted to pop on while I had a moment of energy and let you all know the silliness that I did encounter on the radio and why I've been MIA. But I am home now. I'm good. We're all just trying to recoup from the fast travel. But Dad used to truck, so when you go places, you go there and get back, okay? So, He only scared me once, which is really good because I don't like to let other people drive, but I don't drive long distances with my health. But he only scared me once, and he was coming back through the mountains, and he started gaining speed going down the hill. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, I gotta make speed to get up the next hill." I said, "You're in a Nissan, not an 18-wheeler." And he just kind of giggled. That's the only time he scared me. Oh, Sally, how does Amy contact you? And it's going to be on the comment section, so don't put anything, don't put a phone number. Give her like an email. And y'all know that the Etsy store is Hillbilly Heart Decor. If you want to go see Dave's Etsy store, Hillbilly Heart Decor. His Facebook is Hillbilly Furs. And normally, if you send something to Hillbilly Furs, he'll make sure I get it. It may be when he gets home, but he'll make sure I get it. Even if I'm down on the farm, he'll let me know every evening if I get messages. And then my email is watersworkload@gmail.com. And I check it every night before I go to bed. But if you tell me what's going on and you need a more immediate way to yell at me, then I will give you a more immediate way to yell at me. All right, Sally says, Amy has the same name on Facebook. My whole family is pulling a trailer. We all act like we're pulling trailers. I blame hauling livestock. He blames driving a truck. But we all act like we're pulling invisible trailers. But it comes in handy sometimes. I'm not going to lie. Same name on Facebook in Bama. I'm being a good helper right now, ain't I? Yeah, go ahead and give me prayers for the next storm because y'all know it's going to hit. It's coming. We know it's going to be here sometime. We had the roof off the highway department. Some homes had some roofs and trees down. We had people without power for a few days. I think they have almost all of those redone, and it was just all the trees and stuff that flipped that took all the power lines down. And our power lines are very up and down mountains. Luckily, nobody lost their life. Everybody was okay. And it wasn't straight line wind. Some of it may have been, but a lot of it was in different directions. So we know it was a whirlybird. And it was a fairly decent one. I know Anderson County, Tennessee, they finally had a picture of it, and it was like a Great Plains wedge tornado that went over Anderson County, Tennessee. And I was like, oh, buddy, the roar that I heard, and I need to learn to turn my phone when I hear a roar so that the mic picks it up or get a different mic to put on my phone. The roar that I heard was a much more deep and intense roar than you normally hear. So I knew it had to be a bigger one. And literally it bobbled. It bounced and bobbled when it went across the top here. And it takes me about 5 minutes to get to the hospital. But as the crow flies, it's about a mile and a half. So we were that close to that tornado. We've been in between a few if you've watched my channel, we've been in between a few in the last few years. So that's why normally if it gets really bad, I go down under the mountain where Mom and Dad have a basement. But that one was, the storms were dying down, and all of a sudden, boom. Yeah, I don't have a basement, so I just had to go, you stay over there. Now, if I know in time it's going to be that bad, we'll go down to the farm and where Mom and Dad have a basement. Lord, Sally, get them fed and get inside. It's cold here today. Like it's spitting. It goes back from rain to ice and snow. Oh, you found a puppy? Now that I'm back, as soon as I rest, we're going to pull Hondo and see if he can hack it here, or see if we can hack Hondo. Yeah, I said that right. I hope he works out. I hope he works out. That's the next thing. That's the next thing on the list is get Hondo home. I think we need to take up the pet food offering for Sally. He's watching Ryan Hall, y'all. I tell you, somebody that's not like Ryan's from this area, but somebody that's not from this area that actually sometimes gets it better than Ryan, dare I say it, is that Nate Snyder. I thought it used to be NB. But that's where I got my glasses. It's Nate, N8, Nate Snyder. He's really good. He's a young little meteorologist dude. And I don't know why he doesn't have more followers. He's sharp. He's good. Like, he's called stuff before Ryan's called it. And I've been like, wow. So I go back and forth between both of them. But Ryan's doing great things for the area. Ryan Hall, y'all, is like a local legend now. He's doing some really great stuff for the Appalachia area. But I really do like Nate Snyder, too. Well, I hope if somebody lost her, I hope they find the puppy. But if not, I'm glad she found you. Yeah, we may all need to do a family pet food fund for Sally. It's not a bad idea, y'all. It's not a bad idea. Sally, I may be messaging you. Like I said, I had some blessings, so I have to bless somebody else. So I may be yelling at Sally in a minute. I'll try to find you on Facebook, Sally. Oh, Ryan's really good. Yeah, I really do like Nate Snyder, though. And he will stay live forever. Like, until the fear is over for everybody. He will stay live as long as he can. And I appreciate that, too. And he'll bounce back and forth where you ask him to look. So when my daughter moved south for a long time, it was hard for me when the storms went through. It was hard for me to pinpoint exactly where she was all the time until I got that muscle memory on the maps. And I would like send him $1.99 super chat and ask him about the city, and he would make sure to go back to that often and tell me how things were going. And I really appreciated that. Yeah, Ryan's getting so big, it's hard for him to really kind of cater to specific areas anymore. And that may be why I like Nate too, because he's still kind of doing that. Oh, Sally, that's good. That's good. That's something we don't have in this area, is a really good rescue. We don't have any humane society here, but we do have good people. You have a great day. Y'all, if y'all haven't ever checked out Million's channel, go. I call him MMC. Go check out his channel. He's great. Great content, great late night, thought-provoking chats, awesome music. If you ever wanted to sift through music and find good stuff, just go check out his channel. Almost every dog I've ever had was a rescue, and they're great. That's how we got Oscar, and I still miss him so much. I put his little solar tombstone out, and it glows so bright, and like super bright. David sent me a picture of how bright it was, because I put it out and then we left, and David said, this thing is so bright. It is. And I've got a little trellis to go over. I haven't decided what plant I'm going to put there. And I got a wind chime to hang under the trellis on a shepherd's hook. And we're going to make it a little flower garden around him and Moses. So that's my spring flower garden. Good, Sally. We just did one. We had like a round with 2 grants, around $7,800 that was used. It was pretty good spay and neuter. Yeah, y'all watch this weather. It's just strange. Y'all know what I think about it. It's just strange. And I mean, we have strange weather here anyway, but it's super strange now. The weather the other day was traveling the wrong way for tornadoes, like straight the wrong way for tornadoes. It was just the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. It's done that a few times now. Every spring we seem to get worse and more storms, more just right one after the other. It's so not normal for this area. When we get weird weather, we get it, but it's normally not repetitious. So the wind's been horrible. Yeah, the wind's been horrible. Our watershed has been, we've had so much rain. Our watershed pattern has completely changed around here. So our lakes and rivers are all screwed up right now. So it's just weird. Okay, Sally's going to share on her Facebook page, and it's Sally is from Alabama under the same name. She's going to put on her Facebook page the rescue that helps fund her taking care of these animals. So that would be a place for us to donate. Yeah, we have feral dogs. We've actually had 2 people mauled to death by feral dogs in the valley lands as soon as you slide off the mountain. And so we've started to combat the problem a little bit more seriously. Feral dogs are more dangerous than wild dogs like coyotes and wolves because we, as humans, we're stupid. We bred out all the sense. They have no sense of fear. They have no sense. They'll do lust kills. We bred out all the common sense, and so feral dogs are much more dangerous than coyotes or wolves. And David has, had to specifically help people with those issues as well. And it's sad because they're also really hard on the wildlife, and then they make it hard on the other predators that have struck a balance because they ruin the balance. So it's all interlaced, and balance is such a precarious thing, and people that don't understand nature and they don't understand balance, they go out and say, have a heart, let them live. And I'm like, when David's trapping or something, I'm like, would you want them to starve to death? Because the land can only supplement so many animals, and then they all starve and die and disease ridden. And which would you rather see? I would rather see a balanced number of healthy animals than skinny, nasty, disease ridden, pitiful things. So that's just where I am. I care too much to let them starve. They're working here. They're doing pretty good here, the spay and neuter programs. But we have no humane association or anything. But we do have good people. They're vicious. Yeah, Amy, they're vicious. Oh my goodness, Amy, you need to write a book. No, wild feral dogs. They're crazy. They're crazy. They have no common sense. I made the joke one day that they're like little pirates. They just rape and pillage, but they don't have any common sense. They don't know parameters, boundaries. They don't know scent pass. They don't know when they're crossing another predator. They got a pack of wild dogs got into the school's sheep flock and killed every sheep, just left it lay. Now, a coyote or wolf would have picked off one and known that that's a food source for a long time and would have only taken so often. Wild dogs kill them all because they do what we call lust kills. They don't know how to stifle. We've bred out the ability for them to stifle those emotions. Amy, I've been told that too, but I really think you need to. Hello, whoever popped in, Heidi. So I've been talking for a while now. I've got to eat my breakfast. I need to shut up. I could gab all day, but I want to check in. I know I've been MIA, and I apologize. Seems like they're still throwing the channel out in the algorithm. David hates that. I don't mind it. We do pick up some gems along the way, so we just have to sift through everybody, but that's okay. We get some gems. So expect some trolling, but like I said, we pick up some good people along that, so we'll deal with it. David does have a video. He needed me to edit part of it. If I can get my eyes to square up a little bit, I'll try to edit that and get that out. I don't know. He's only got like 1 or 2 more weekends of trapping season, and then it's done. So I don't know exactly what he's got filmed, but I know he does have one that I need to go back and re-edit a spot for him. So I'll try to get that out. And if I feel good later, we'll make a raccoon clutch purse. We'll see how I do today. But if I'm not here, just know I'm resting and dealing with this weather. And don't forget, Sally's putting on her Facebook page the rescue that helps fund her and the spay and neuter program in her area. So y'all have a great day. Amy, it was lovely getting to know you. Amy's our rock star of the day. Don't forget that on one of the last lives we had the Easter thing. What does Easter mean to you? I've got the little bunny that I crocheted. It looks like a velveteen rabbit. Go back, watch that video, put what Easter means to you in the comments, and whoever moves me, it doesn't have to be crying, tears, laughter, it could be any emotion. Whoever moves me the most with their response, I will ship Mr. Velveteen Crochet Rabbit to you. So go back, watch that live. It was like a cooking chat, and leave what Easter means to you in the comments. And I'll be at the end of the weekend, I'll be making the choice of whoever sent me the most. If you don't want to put a comment, you can email it to me at watersworkload@gmail.com. It's great to see everybody. Thanks for jumping in and letting me jib jab about my trip and all the funny things I heard on the radio. And y'all have a great day. Watch the weather because the pendulum's going to swing again soon. And Sally said to give her a minute. She's like me, technology. I'm slow with technology now. I'm getting to the age where I'm like, I just don't want to keep up with it anymore. And it's okay. I'm there. But we'll try to do this again soon. And if I craft later, we'll chat at the same time. We'll see how my health does. Y'all take care of yourselves today. Try to make somebody's day better. And if you're having a moment, reach out and talk to somebody. Somebody's always there for you. Asking for help's one of the best things you can ever do. And we have a great community here. So link up and take care of each other. We're good people. I'm just on breakfast. I don't eat a lot now, though. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate y'all. Love yous. I'll see you soon. I'm going to reheat my blueberry. Bye, guys.